Earlier modules have shown you how to chat with an AI and how to use an already built workflow. This module is focused on showing you how to build your own workflows. So over the next few minutes, we're going to show you how to take advantage of one of the most powerful features of Kendo, and that's the ability to make your own tools that leverage AI to assist you at work with your specific needs. And once you've built that tool, Kendo calls it a workflow, it will be available to you whenever you need to do that same work again in the future without having to reinvent the wheel each time. So depending on how your IT team has permissioned your account in Kendo, you may or may not have this capability. And for the purposes of this module, we will assume that you have been granted that permission. So let's dive in. All right, this is a very easy process. The first thing you do is just click that Create a Workflow button at the top of your screen. You'll see quite a few options here, and that's because you can build some extremely advanced things here. For now, though, we're just going to focus on building a relatively simple one-step workflow. Future modules will show you how to build way more complex tools to leverage AI. All right, so let's turn our attention to that big white box in the middle of the screen. This is the core component of building your workflow. In previous modules, we've shown you how to chat back and forth with an AI by typing what you want it to do for you. When you did that, you were typing what is called a prompt for the AI. There's nothing magical about the word prompt. It's just the term that's used by the industry. It's just the word for the instructions that you give the AI in order to get it to do what you want it to do. So for the purposes of this module, I'm going to assume a role of someone at a company who often wants to get a real quick summary of different industries. And there are certain things I want to know about that industry. This could be useful for any number of different roles: sales, research, product management, operations, marketing, et cetera, et cetera. But for whatever reason, this is something that I do often, and I want an easy way to speed up my processes when I do this. So for this first workflow we're building together, the first thing I'm going to do is type my instructions into the AI in that white box. Now, as a reminder, this is called a prompt. There are other modules available to you that will give some detailed instructions on how to write a highly effective prompt. So let's not go into great detail on that here. The key thing to focus on right now is that I've written a prompt that I like, and that it tells the AI exactly what information I would like and what it should provide me. But basically, I'm looking for an analysis of the past 10 years of an industry, the companies that are considered leaders and laggards in that industry and why, and what commonly anticipated trends will be coming up in the next 5 years. I've also instructed the AI to tell me how a company in that industry might best position itself to become a leader in the next 5 years. Now, in this scenario, I do this quite often in my role, which is why I've decided to build a workflow in order to save myself even more time. So in order to make this workflow flexible enough to serve my various needs in the future for the various industry research that I do, I'm going to make the workflow flexible enough to do that for me. Now, I know I go through the same process each time when I conduct this activity, which is why I've written the prompt the way that I have. But the industry, the actual industry that I research, often changes. So the way I make this tool flexible for me is I insert what's called a user input into the prompt that I've written. And that is right here. So focusing on that last sentence in the prompt, that's where I'm going to tell Kendo to ask me in the future what industry it wants me to do the exact same work on when I run this in the future. So in order to do that, I just move my cursor here. I hit user input, and you see that little bubble that pops up there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in what I want Kendo to ask me when I run this in the future regarding, in this case, what industry that I want to research. So I'm just going to type that real quickly. And you see that that pops up. Okay, so now I'm just going to save it, and I'm going to show you what this looks like when I run it. Okay, so you see that I don't see any of that prompting in the background. The only thing that I see is what I asked Kendo to ask me. And that is right here. What industry would you like to be researched? Okay, great. Now, I'm just going to go back and talk about a few other things here before we actually run this. Okay, so depending on how your IT team has rolled out Kendo and AI at your company, you might have the ability to use only a few different types of AIs with Kendo, or you might have the ability to use dozens of different AIs. So it's right here where you can select which AI model you want your workflow to use. So you can see that this particular account has a few different models, and you may have more or you may have less, and maybe you have different models to choose from. There are other training modules that will give you some really good information on which models are good for different things that you want to do, but let's not focus on that right now. I just want to point out to you right here that you get the flexibility of using a number of different AI models that your organization has made available to you. Okay. So for me, for no particular reason, I'm going to choose Claude 100K as the model for this example. And again, the main point is that your organization will decide which AIs are available to you, and it is here that you choose which one you want to use in your workflow. All right. Now let's see this run. Okay, so it's asking me the question, and I'm just going to type in boutique e-commerce because I want to research that for whatever reason. Okay, so this will take a little bit of time to run. So while we're waiting for that, I'll just point out that you can build workflows for use by yourself only, and depending on how IT has set up your Kendo account, you could also build workflows that other people at your company can use. So this becomes a very powerful tool if you want to standardize on a process and have everyone use the same workflow in that process. Okay, so I am pretty pleased with the output of this workflow here. So it's given me exactly what I've asked for, and I am happy with this. Now, if I weren't, then it would be easy enough for me to go back in here to edit workflow, and I could change my prompt in order to get a different result. But I don't feel the need to do that right now. Okay. So the main learnings from this module are, number one, how to build a workflow to help you at work with any efforts that you undertake frequently. We've also sort of focused on how do you use this user input capability in order to make sure that your prompts are flexible and convenient and your workflows are flexible. And we've also focused on where you can select the different AI models that are available to you, depending on how your organization has set that up. All right. Thanks for watching.